In this podcast, Ben Shapiro discusses a variety of topics, including the lack of humor in today's society, the border crisis, and the potential impeachment of Alejandro Mayorkas, the Secretary of Homeland Security. He begins by addressing the lack of humor in society, attributing it to the breakdown of the social fabric. He believes that the merger of celebrity and politics during the Obama administration led to the decline of comedy as comedians became more politically involved and lost their ability to make jokes that transcended political divides. Shapiro points out that the inability to laugh at things is a symptom of the societal breakdown, as people have become too polarized and unable to find common ground. He highlights the absurdity of the situation, citing examples such as the reaction to Elmo's innocent tweet on Twitter and the conspiracy theories surrounding Taylor Swift's relationship with football star Travis Kelce. Shapiro emphasizes the need for people to lighten up and find humor in everyday situations, regardless of their political affiliations. Shapiro then shifts the discussion to the border crisis, criticizing the Biden administration's handling of the situation. He highlights the fact that the border crisis did not exist during the Trump administration and accuses Biden of failing to enforce the laws that are already in place. He also addresses the proposed border deal, expressing skepticism about its effectiveness and questioning the need for it without seeing the details. Shapiro argues that the lack of trust in the Biden administration's governance is reflected in the polls, which show a decline in Biden's favorability and approval ratings. The podcast also delves into the potential impeachment of Alejandro Mayorkas, the Secretary of Homeland Security. Shapiro presents contrasting views on the matter, with some Republicans advocating for Mayorkas' impeachment due to his handling of the border crisis, while others, including Representative Dan Goldman, oppose it, citing the lack of legal grounds for impeachment. Shapiro criticizes the hypocrisy of those who previously supported the impeachment of Donald Trump without alleging specific crimes, yet now oppose the impeachment of Mayorkas. Shapiro continues by addressing the 165 attacks on American troops between October 17th and January 29th in various locations, including Syria, Iraq, Jordan, and the Red Sea. He criticizes President Joe Biden for not taking any action in response to these attacks and for not defending the troops on the ground. Shapiro argues that if troops are deployed in these areas, they should be defended, and America's allies should be allowed to take action against terrorism. He also highlights the need for a rational foreign policy and criticizes Biden's approach to the situation. Shapiro discusses the legal charges against Donald Trump and criticizes the Biden administration for what he perceives as political prosecution. He points out that several of the cases against Trump appear to be falling apart and questions the motives behind the charges. Shapiro also highlights the disparity in the treatment of anti-abortion protesters and the lack of charges against individuals involved in the Black Lives Matter riots. Shapiro addresses the controversies surrounding members of the Squad in Congress, including Representative Cori Bush's alleged misuse of security funds and Representative Ilhan Omar's comments about Somalia and the U.S. government. He criticizes Bush for using campaign funds for personal security and questions Omar's allegiance to Somalia and her statements about controlling the U.S. government's actions. Shapiro also discusses Representative Jamal Bowman's past promotion of 9/11 conspiracy theories and the plagiarism allegations against Harvard's Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer. Shapiro highlights the plagiarism allegations against Harvard's Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer, Cher and Charleston. He discusses the anonymous complaint listing at least 40 examples of alleged plagiarism in Charleston's academic work, including her failure to properly cite her husband's study. Shapiro criticizes Harvard for hiring someone who has been accused of plagiarism and emphasizes the importance of hiring competent and non-plagiarist individuals, especially in positions related to diversity and inclusion.